Mr Buchholz.
Thank you, Mr Chair. Gentlemen, would a Royal Commission have the power to instruct you to drop interest rates on a credit card?
Not to my knowledge, but I'm not sure.
No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't. No, it would not. Not that this committee has done that, but I want to compliment the ANZ on your ability to communicate with your client base, your customers. In your recent press release, you've indicated that we've listened to customers' feedback about credit card and decided that our low-rate customers would benefit from a rate cut as they are most likely to have ongoing debt from month to month. These changes mean that they'll have the best rate available from any of the major banks or any regional banks owned by the majors. That's a good competitive position for you to be in. Would you can you give me an overview of that product that you guys have, that ANZ Mobile Pay, and how you think that differentiates you and adds benefit to your customers?
Yeah, I think if you're referring to our mobile wallet offerings.
Mobile wallet,
yeah.
Yeah.
So the reality is today that in our industry, we are increasingly moving into a digital world, and our customers' expectations of us are not set by our peer group, frankly, or other banks. They're set by their experience of people like Uber and Airbnb and eBay and Amazon and all of those digital, that's their digital life. And so when people look and have these great experiences online and all the things they can do 24/7, easy to do, self-service, they ask their question, well, if I can buy a book like that or book a holiday, why can't my banking be as simple? And why can't I pay for things as simple? So we've taken an approach, we need to digitise things as quickly as possible, put more power into our customers' hands, and one of the ways of doing that is enabling them to pay for things with their mobile phone. And so essentially taking away the need for that piece of plastic, that credit card, and moving it into a digital space on your phone, for those who want it. Now, there will always be parts of the community that's not appropriate, and they still want that piece of plastic, and we've got to do both. So that's what we're doing. And we've got to lead innovation in the sector, and we've taken a different approach in terms of our partnership with Apple because our customers want that.
How do you communicate with your customers? Because in your statement you said we've listened to our customers' feedbacks about credit card interest rates. How do you do that? Because I want to be specific, because earlier today one of the other banks indicated that they didn't have an appetite to shift because they were of opinion that it was a dangerous precedent to base interest rates on the back of political pressure. I wouldn't suggest that you have shifted on the back of political pressure, other than that you've got your ear to the ground and you actually are listening to a customer base. So I just want to understand how you listen to your customers and where the other banks potentially don't have that skill set or not demonstrated skill set.
So I can't comment on the other bank. All I know is, what we do, so we get literally hundreds of thousands of real-time customer feedback. So if you go into an ANZ branch today and have an A to Z review or talk to a planner or whatever, we do survey that experience, and that generates, whether that's through text or email or through phones, and we get lots of feedback, and people use that opportunity to share their thoughts. We do that. We get lots of independent surveys around customer satisfaction. I actually think one of the better things that we do, and I know the other banks do this, so it's certainly not unique to us, is focus groups. So when I was appointed Chief Executive, I went to every capital city across Australia. I sat in a room behind one-way mirrors and watched people talk about banks and their view of it and what they thought of fees, what they thought of branches, what they thought of cards, what they thought of interest rates, and frankly what they thought of the banks and the various brands. And as a result of that, I took some of my team along with me, and we decided to embark on some change and to try, to be different and to be more responsive to those customer needs. That's essentially, there's no perfect answer to how you listen to customers. It's just something you have to build into the company every day.
I know you understand that. I mean, my sample size of feedback I get from people's opinions on banks can vary from the agricultural sector. A couple of quick ones down at the pub. The boys are always keen to let you know, when they see something on the television about interest rates, you need to do something about this, Scott. But I want to ask now about, in the credit card space, you mentioned earlier on that you had 85% market share. and that you're very conscious that you lose 6%.
Yeah.
How much is coming in?
Yeah.
And does that pay wallet set you apart from different other operators?
So just to give you the stats actually around our cards business, we have about 20% market share. So that's in terms of number of cards or the total balances. What's really interesting about the cards business is people are using credit cards less and less as a way to borrow money, which is a good thing because it's not the best way to borrow money. If you want to borrow money, it's a good way to buy things and transact. It's not the best way to run up debt, and we've got to do a better job of making sure that when we see people using it as a debt instrument, to get them into a more appropriate product. But what they are using it is just to live their life and to make payments, and we've got to make that better and better. Interesting, since we launched our mobile wallets and Apple Pay, our market share is increasing. We're getting more customers choose to come to us. Interestingly, since we cut our rates, which was February 23rd, I believe, when that was effective, we've already seen a roughly around a 20% increase in applications for that low rate card. So, I think our decision is kind of borne out by, customers are voting with their feet and choosing
20%?
A 20% increase in acquisition, the number of people who are coming to us. So, and there'll be a competitive response and we'll have to work harder again and think of new things to do on rates and features. And that's the ongoing world that we live in.
Do you suggest there will be a competitive response?
Well, I think there already has been. I know that Westpac have announced a card that they're planning on launching some point in the future. I expect there will be. Mm-hmm. And that's a good, as I said, that'll be a good thing for consumers.
With reference to the recommendations of the committees, number 3 in and around the competition policies, recommendation of the Treasury every 6 months to improve competition in the banking sector, you as a bank have suggested that you in principle support that?
Yes.
Is there enough competition in the market?
Oh, look, I think there is. And again, I know we'll have different opinions. As I said, we have about 5 million customers. 500,000 of them every year decide to go somewhere else. And that reflects they feel they're getting better service, better price, something better from another bank. We're fortunate that 600,000 customers from somewhere else choose to come to ANZ, and so we get to grow our share. It's a pretty fiercely intensive, competitive market. That's how we feel. And so that's how we operate when we come to work every day. Yes, as I said, we have 15% market share. We fight really hard to grow that, and it's hard work. And we know that, I look at our biggest competitor, they're 85% bigger than us. And so I don't feel, anything but that we come with a very intense competitive spirit every day.
You have it is a competitive environment. You have new clients that are in the tune of 20% in that credit card space that are
Yes.
that are migrating towards you. What would be your I am complimentary of the commercial courage that ANZ has shown to move in this space. It is a personal endeavour of mine. What is your pitch to those with credit cards in other banks to migrate to ANZ, chasing this low rate?
Well,
that's a free kick.
Yeah, that's
a free kick.
No, look, I think the reality is there are different cards for different sectors. What we want, we've got essentially 3 cards. We do have our, for want of a better term, our Ferrari product, which is it is a high rate product. It is at 20-ish%, but you get lots of frequent flyer miles and insurance and all the benefits that come with that, and people like it, and there's a market for that. By and large, those customers don't borrow, so they're using it for transactions and other things, and that's fine. Then we have our low rate card, who are people who need a little bit more financial flexibility. I think it's important to note that rate that they're paying is pretty competitive even when you compare it to a personal loan. So that's not a bad number. And then we have a low fee card, because there's also a sector of the economy out there who are generally in lower socioeconomic circumstances, who aren't necessarily going to borrow, who need a credit card but don't like to pay fees. And so we've kind of segmented the market in that way. Our job at the moment, frankly, is to make sure people are using the right product. And we've got some work to do there. There's clearly some people in the high rate card that should be in the low rate. And our job is to make sure we can make it really easy for them to move.
Thank you. And again, in closing, I just congratulate the bank as a result of conversations that we've had in the past, that you have shifted your interest rates. And I will continue to remind those people, either at church or at football or in the pub, that there is a bank out there listening to their customers' needs.
Thank you.
Thank you.